Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen someone who walks into a room and say just three words and instantly have everyone's full attention? That is not by chance. That's the invisible form of influence. Joining me in the studio today, let us all welcome Daniel Kumar. We are glad to have you once again in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Mate, for having me. I was taken aback for a while because you said someone is going to say just three words. I thought the whole session is going to be just three words. I was trying to figure out what those three words would be.
Definitely not. Having you in the studio, we are very sure that we will get a lot of wisdom today. Something that we will learn, just like the previous episodes that you guys visited us in the studio. So we're excited?
Very much.
Alright, so let's start with my first question. Is influence something you are born with, or can anyone build it over time?
Every influential person, of course, is a born person. I don't see anyone, or I haven't met anyone unborn who has an influence on someone. So, yes, people are born with influence, but that doesn't mean that you can't develop it. Influence is something that you can work and develop as well. So I think it works both ways, because some people are automatically, they have that in themselves, they have a knack of it because of their upbringing, because of the environments they have been through. And then some people, they develop it once they set focus on it, they can start developing that as well. So it works both ways. You can't say certain people are born with it or certain people develop with it. So it works both ways.
I know it's too early to ask this, but that actually rang a bell on me when you said, if you develop it. What if you are born with it, but it's your choice not to develop it, or maybe you're not in that environment to develop?
Like you said, the word itself is there, it's a choice. So either you develop it or you let it lie low. So if you let it lie low, it will still be there in you, but it might not be something that people look up to you. But if you develop it, of course, it will be something where people look up to you, and even organizations look up to you to help them in certain areas.
Yeah, it's like I can see it like you have the tool, you have the resources, but if you're not using it, it can be just like a sleeping.
Yes.
Giant.
So you have the tool, you use it. You have the tool, you don't use it, it becomes rusty.
Exactly. Alright. Influence takes daily practice in line with what you mentioned earlier. What is one daily routine you practice personally to sharpen your leadership skills?
Something that I personally believe in terms of a leadership position and being in a leadership position is to add value to someone each day. This is something that the leadership guru John Maxwell always talks about. I'm an avid fan of him. I have read almost all of his leadership books. So that's something that I personally believe in as well, adding value to someone each and every day.
It's like you have read my mind when I was writing the script. Adding value is my third question.
Okay.
What does adding value to someone's life actually look like in an everyday setting? Like it can be in school for those listeners who are still a student or those who are working.
So when we talk about adding value, sometimes you might think it's something huge, something that you need to plan for, something that you need to study for, but not really. Sometimes a small smile, a small greeting, listening to someone, focused on them, telling them something that they like to hear, something positive about them, adds value to them. So it's all about spending some time focusing and seeing how you can add value to an individual.
Yes, I agree with that. But we always hear this as well. It takes two hands to clap. So how do you as a leader, how do you actually spot who are the kind of people that are willing to have that kind of time to be spent as well, or open up themselves for that?
So again, influence, all these concepts are concepts when people are open to this. So be helpable
Yeah.
is the first thing to help someone. If there's someone who is not helpable, then I don't see that person going anywhere. No one could help him other than himself.
Yes, I think even from the previous episode, we have also mentioned it a bit on that discussion. And yeah, this can either be younger or older. How can you build an influence with people who are older or younger? That, or maybe they feel I'm more experienced than you, or something they have more. So how do you actually break that?
So when we talk about influence, some people think it's about position and things like that. But you see, again I'll refer to John Maxwell. He talks about the 5 levels of leadership. So the first position is basically position. People follow you because they have to follow you. The second level is, we call it the permission level. In the permission level, people follow you because they want to follow you. The third level is production, because they follow you because you have produced results.
Yes.
The fourth, of course, is people development. People follow you because you have done something for them personally. The fifth level, of course, is the pinnacle level. People follow you because who you are.
Wow.
And because of your concept. So, coming back to your question, like how do we build influence with people who are elder than us or more than our age? See, building influence is not about titles and organizational hierarchies and etc. Yes, they are part of it, but those are not the main essence. Actually, the essence of building influence is being able to seamlessly build relationships, build trust, build credibility, build consistency. These are the things that add to the word influence. So, if someone is older than me, you need to have a good relationship first. You need to build trust for them for you to influence them. And sometimes being humble,
Yes.
practicing humility also might be a way to get to that.
Yeah. It's actually, we always say this, it's a big responsibility. And like what you mentioned on humility, oftentimes people might associate it, though I have this title, I have this rank, so they have that mindset of this is my level now. So what I'm getting from this conversation is something that you put yourself connected with the people around.
Connection to people is what builds influence. Like you might see some people, they just walk into a room, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
When they walk into a room, they pause, they look into people eye to eye,
Yeah.
smile at them, right? Recognize their presence. That itself, I think, is the start of influence.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. Alright, that leads me to, in virtual or hybrid work environments, how do you still keep the influence if they're physically away?
That's actually a very good question, because most of the teams now work virtually.
Yes.
In my humble opinion, I would say that constant communication
Yes.
helps you to keep that influence going. Constant, interested communication. You have to naturally be interested in someone.
Yes.
That's where you build communication, influence. My apologies. So, if you are communicating for the purpose, just because you have to do that, then that act doesn't build the influence we are talking about. But you have to be genuinely interested in the person, and that communication should feel personal. Then there's a build of influence.
Yes, the authenticity of
Yes.
the connection that you
Yes.
are building.
So something that we always say, right? When we come in the morning, everyone says, good morning, good morning, good morning. And some people ask, how are you, how are you, how are you? But do you really mean that good morning? Do you really mean that how are you? So that adds value.
Alright. Since you mentioned that energy, right? When energy or enthusiasm in a team is completely dead or probably dying, how do you actually reignite without sounding cringe or off?
There should be a reason for people, for their energy and enthusiasm to come down. So, the first thing that you should do is to be all ears open. Listen to them. What could be the reason for that problem or drop of enthusiasm? The second thing as a leader, one of the most important thing is reflection. You should be able to reflect on the people's, your teammates' behavior, their gestures, their emotions, why those emotions came out, why those gestures came out, why those words came out. You should have the time to think and reflect. If you don't have the time to think and reflect, then your leadership capabilities and your leadership abilities are going to be questioned.
So, I'm getting two things, listening and reflection.
Definitely.
Wow. What's a habit that silently destroys a leader's influence faster than anything else, in your opinion?
Not listening. Not listening to your people will slowly destroy your leadership position. If you are not prepared to listen to your people, if you are not receptive to their needs, if you can't observe what's going on, if you can't reflect on those things, I think that's the downfall of many leaders.
Maybe for those listeners we have today, is there a particular duration that you have to spend time and probably you can share some of the tips that you have in practicing?
To study leadership, yes, you have to make a conscious effort. So the first thing when it comes to leadership is you have to love to lead. That's one thing. Number two, you should like leading people. For that, you should like people.
Yes, exactly.
If you are a person who doesn't like people in the outset, or you don't like spending time with people, then I think leadership is not for you. So you have to genuinely be interested, you have to genuinely like the role.
Yeah.
Then how much time you spend on leadership is not in the equation at all. So then everything you do, everything you think will be about leadership. Then at that point, your leadership skills will go from strength to strength.
So, are you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is it more of quality than the quantity? Like, okay, I'll spend 5 hours on this person and 3 hours on this person.
Definitely when it comes to leadership, influence, it's quality. How much attention you can give that person. That helps you to build influence.
Alright, thank you. How about for those who are introverts, how they can actually build influence, like if they prefer to be in the behind the scenes kind of setting, how they can actually build influence skill?
If you go out and read, you will see a lot of successful leaders were introverts.
Wow.
Sometimes we think that for you to build influence, you need to speak a lot. I don't think so. Sometimes silence speaks more influence than any words. So there's no division where introverts or extroverts can be leaders. It's all again how much you like that role, how much you enjoy that role, and how much you are willing to learn in that role each day to get past a certain area.
Yeah, so it's an everyday learning process just like any other skill.
Yes, and it's also you have to have a genuine interest to coach, to mentor your teammates, to talk to them, to spend more time with them, because sometimes you get the biggest insights when you are in informal situations with them or informal gatherings over a cup of tea, over a cup of over a meal, over a occasion where you have some time to chill.
Time, yes.
So yeah, those are the areas where you discover people, where you discover other leaders as well.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. That leads me to my final question. It's so fast, 15 minutes. For those watching us right now who may feel invisible in their school, job, or in their team, in their workplace, what one small move they can make tomorrow to start leading from right where they are now?
Start reading. Start gathering knowledge. Because you cannot be a leader if you have nothing to give others. The more you have to give others, the more people will look up to you. So start reading one sentence today if you are not a reader. Just one sentence. That one sentence, make it 10 sentences, make it one page. Eventually, you will begin to grow in any capacity you are based to be.
Wow, that felt like a masterclass today. Thank you, Daniel.
You're most welcome. It was a pleasure.
We definitely learned a lot, just like I mentioned at the beginning.
Thank you. I learned a lot too.
Thank you. To our audience, thank you for tuning in. When you focus on helping others to win, your influence becomes limitless. What is one promise you can make and keep your team or friends this week to build trust? Think about it. Influence starts with credibility. Like, follow, and share this episode. We'll see you again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Your Global Campus Skills for Tomorrow. Bye!